fish people, it's Brittany, and today I am doing the courtship book tag. I don't know who this tag was originally created by, but when I find out, I will link that down below for you guys. Phase 1, Initial Attraction, a book you bought for the cover. I have 3 of these. The first one is The Forgotten Garden by Kate Morton. I found this one at a Half Price Books, and it is just such a beautiful cover. Very simplistic in a way, but it's also very intriguing because it's got the little cottage and the forest and it wraps around the trees. I love it so much. The next one is Lost Lake by Sarah Addison Allen, and this one is just so pretty. I mean, really? You've got these gorgeous trees and then these like lanterns hanging down and this inviting path. I just like want to walk through this path because it's so inviting and so pretty. And of course the last book is Grimm's Fairy Tales by the Grimm Brothers. I will be honest, there were multiple editions of this book at Half Price Books, and I was like, well, I do want a pretty cover to go along with this lovely fairy tales. And so I went with this one because this one seems so quintessential fairy tales, especially Grimm fairy tales. I just love the woodsiness of it and the little running stream and the forest creatures. It's just so cute. Phase 2, First Impressions, a book you bought because of the summary. I have 2 for this. The first one is Signature of All Things by Elizabeth Gilbert. This book is about a realm of spiritual, the divine, and magical, and about a girl finding herself and finding all these things, and it just sounded so wonderful, and it's definitely one of Elizabeth Gilbert's books that I really, really want to pick up. And the next book is Blueprints by Barbara Delinsky. This book is about a mother and a daughter coming together and reconnecting and figuring out who they are in their lives. This is just going to be such a wonderful read, and I always love reading about mother and daughter dynamics. Phase 3, Sweet Talk, a book with wonderful writing. Of course, for this one, I had to go with Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor. If you have ever read this book, you know exactly what I'm talking about. This writing is just so lyrical and beautiful and wonderful, and it just really adds to the story. I love Laini Taylor's writing, and it's just absolutely phenomenal. Phase 4, The First Date, a first book in a series that made you want to pick up the rest of the series. Oh my god, I have a lot for this one. A High and Finish by Kate Cassidy, a selection by Kira Cass, Cinder by Marissa Meyer, Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas, The Darkest Minds by Alexandra Bracken, Daughter of Smoke and Bone by Laini Taylor, and City of Bones by Cassandra Clare. All of these books have made me want to pick up the rest of the series, and I am a very serial reader. Phase 5, Late Night Phone Calls, a book that made you stay up all night reading. I don't typically stay up all night reading, and the only book I could really think about for this one was The Final Eclipse, which is the 13th book in the Daughters of the Moon series, and this was long ago, but I read this whole book, and it made me stay up all night. I stayed up way past my bedtime. It was just such a good memory for me. It's one of those beginning reader memories that you have when you're like, oh my god, reading is amazing. Phase 6, Always on Your Mind, a book that you could not stop thinking about. I have 2 for this one, and that is The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern and Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert. These are always on my mind for 2 different reasons. Big Magic is not so much a self-help book, but definitely a non-fiction book about what it means to be creative and living beyond the fear. This book isn't about like dropping all of your responsibilities to pursue a creative job. It is about being creative within your own life to fuel who you are, and some of her quotes and some of what she says, it just sticks with you, and I really need to reread this book because it's just simply fabulous. And The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern sticks with me because of the different dynamics in this book. The dynamic of the Night Circus and everyone who's in it with the competition, the dynamic of Marco and Celia, the dynamic of Celia's dad and Marco's father figure, and what this competition put them through, and the ethics of this competition, and what every little bit of how it's intertwined. Just like everything about this book, the plot, the characters, it's just so well written that it kind of just sticks with you, and the morality of this book really has you questioning even way after you've put down this book. Phase 7, Getting Physical, a book you love the feel of, and for me, I went with The Daughter of Smoke and Bone. It's just one of those like soft, smooth, velvety covers. It's just so nice to stroke. Phase 8, Meeting the Family. A book you would recommend to your family and friends. And my family and friends are very, very different readers. All of them. I don't suggest books to my dad. I let Ross do that because I don't read those books. I don't typically suggest books to Ross's parents because I don't read a lot of the same books they do. And my mom and I sometimes overlap. And I definitely don't suggest books to my little brother because I don't read the same books at all as he does. I'm sorry. I'm not sitting here reading philosophy and architecture books. I'm just not. So, for this one, most recently, I did suggest a book that was The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. For all of those reasons I mentioned earlier, it's just such a great book, and it is an adult book, and it's one of the few adult books I have read. And the other one that I have been recently suggesting to both my mom and Ross over and over again, and to our friend Blake actually, is Nevermore by Jessica Townsend. I know it's a middle grade book, and that not everyone loves middle grade books, but I just think it is something that everybody needs to read. It is about found families and finding out who you are, and it's just this whimsical and lovely story, and I love it so much. Phase 9, Thinking About the Future. A book or series you know you will reread many times in the future. I have 3 for this one, and of course I had to pick Harry Potter by J.K. Rowling. This is a book that I know everyone's going to pick, but this is a book that everyone should pick. This series has something for everyone, and it is about growing up and finding out who you are and friendship, and I just think it's so important. And along the same lines, I also have Nevermore by Jessica Townsend for all the reasons I mentioned before, and Daughter of Smoke and Bone by Laini Taylor because it is absolutely one of my favorite books. Phase 10 is Share the Love. Who do you tag? And since I don't know who has or hasn't done this video, I'm not going to tag anyone specific, but if you want to do this video, go ahead and do it because it is a lot of fun. Tell me about a book that you would reread many times down below, or any of the books that you would choose for these phases. I really want to know. Don't forget you can find all my social media handles down in the description. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any of the bookish content that I put out. That's all for me. I'll see you guys next time. Bye!